How do you make the most of the stage time you have? So you have managed to land a public speaking gig or you have a presentation coming up. How do you make sure that when you step onto that stage before the audience, you make the most of the time you have as the speaker? Hi, my name is Parul Banka. I transform professionals into terrific storytellers. Today, in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can make the most of the stage time to make your presentation in an effective way. The first point, obvious but often neglected, the dress code. Is there a yardstick that we could apply to dressing up for public speaking? Yes. As a rule of thumb, try and dress up slightly smarter than your audience because of the speaking role you're stepping into. It helps to build your presence on the stage and puts you in a position of authority. I'm not talking about situations where you have to dress up specifically into a costume. If that is what you need to do, go ahead and do it. Events will either have a dress code or not. That is obvious. What about the speaking gigs at the events where there is a dress code? Well, the simplest and the most reasonable thing to do as a speaker is to find out in advance from the event organizer what the dress code is and stick to it. Lots of these day-long workshops or networking and knowledge-sharing seminars have business casuals as the dress code. So say if I'm one of the participants at one of those workshops or sessions or networking events, I would dress up in smart casuals. But if I'm one of the speakers or the facilitators or the person conducting the workshop, I put on a nice jacket. Again, we are going back to the rule of thumb. It helps to dress up a bit smarter as compared to your audience. And a bit smarter as compared to your audience will vary depending on where you live and what the common norm of dressing is. But if you are in more formal settings, the event organizers can be precious about what you wear. In fact, they are precious about what you wear. If it is a black tie event, let's say a black tie dinner here in the UK, for example, you will see most of the men in tuxedos or women in certain kind of formal dresses which are considered suitable for the occasion. Most of the women would probably put on a black dress. There are times when I have decided to go against the dress code consciously and it has worked out really well. But I will leave that story for another time. So, the first step to make the most of the stage time is to dress appropriately, whatever that means for your talk or presentation. Number 2, calm your nerves. There could be situations when we are not feeling at our best. And I'm sure all of us have been there at some point in time, at least once. I remember conducting a day-long workshop about 5 years ago when I was going through chemotherapy for cancer treatment. I looked the worst I had been. My energy was the worst. It was a day-long workshop and I couldn't even stand for 15 minutes. I was nervous and I implemented some strong calm your nerves techniques to help me get through that day. Belly breathing is a great tool and I'm going to upload a separate video on how you can do belly breathing to calm those nerves. And in that moment when you're really scared, really nervous, the most important trick that you can have up your sleeve is to remember the why of your speech. Remember that what you want to say matters, and believe me, if your message matters enough to you, you will find the courage to say it. And the final tip for this video, the room setup. Often overlooked, but very important. Let's spend a couple of minutes to understand why the room setup is so important. Let's talk about the lectern. If, as the speaker, you're standing behind the lectern and speaking, the size of the lectern and the height of the lectern can drastically compromise your body language. The mic. Is it a fixed mic that you're going to use from the lectern, or is it a lapel mic? When you wear a mic on your body, then you can actually move around the space that is available. So you're able to make use of the space and have more effective body language. But if you are fixed onto one spot, then that compromises your body language and your ability to connect and move around, which is also instrumental in connecting with the audience. What is the stage setup? So are you standing on a high stage, almost as if you are placed on a pedestal before your audience, or are you at the same level where you have the opportunity to connect with them at the same level? Are you at a stage where there are physical barriers between you and the audience? And different speakers have different preferences. As a speaker, my personal preference is that I'm not on a stage which is a lot higher than where my audience is placed. I just feel that there is imbalance of power in that equation, in that setting. I also personally prefer that there are no barriers between me and my audience. I somehow find it easier to connect with them. Otherwise, there's that physical barrier between them and me, and that brings down my connection. Yes, my connection quotient with my audience. So I prefer to actually wear a mic on my body where I can move around. I don't prefer to speak from the lectern. That's not my personal choice. But if that's how the room is set up, I like to know in advance, and I make sure that I speak to the event organizer in advance and know what the room setup would be like. My personal preference, as I said, is not to have any barriers between me and my audience, so that I can really connect with them and engage with them and do the presentation or the talk or the speech as equals. So be mindful of what you wear, what your wardrobe is, what the dress code is. If you're doing a costume or an attire, dress different to what the dress code is, make sure that you're comfortable. Make sure you are not somebody who's getting perturbed by what others might be thinking. If that is something that really bothers you, try and stick to the dress code, because that will take one worry off your mind. Make sure you know how the room is set up, and make sure you have some effective tools up your sleeve to calm those nerves when you are nervous. I did mention chemotherapy and cancer, which was a one-off event, thankfully. But there can also be times when we are nervous. In fact, almost all experienced speakers experience some kind of nerves before they step onto the stage. And so it is perfectly normal to be a bit jittery, have butterflies in your stomach before a performance. And therefore, learning how to manage those nerves is so important. And as I said, remembering what your why is often one of the biggest drivers that will help you move forward, not without the fear, but despite your fear. So I hope these three techniques, these three tips were helpful to you in making the most of the stage time that you have. Come and join my community at www.caramelcoaching.com. I would love to connect with you and have you as part of my tribe. You can also join me on my Facebook group, Rewire Your Story. Do take a moment to comment on the video below and share with me what are some of the biggest challenges that you experience while you are on the stage. And if there is anything specific that you would like me to do a video on, I will be happy to put it together for you. So wish you loads of good luck with your next public speaking performance. I'll be back soon. I'll connect with you with one of my new videos soon. Take care. Stay awesome always. Bye.